Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Anasa. We'll give everybody a second to get here. Okay, so let's start with meditation. Take your attention inside, down below your belly button. And as you breathe into that area, allow all your attention to settle there. It's as though there's a funnel just pulling all the energy and all the attention down below your belly button. Our friend Michaela calls this home base safe place. Take your attention to the tip of your tailbone. All the way at the bottom of your spine. And allow your attention to drop into the connection with Mother Earth. Her arms outstretched to receive us in love. Alignment with Mother Earth is part of alignment with divinity, not separate. And when you're ready, gently bring your attention to your solar plexus, just below the bottom of your rib cage in the front. And then you extend your awareness all the way to your back, still holding it in the front, so that you can feel your entire solar plexus. Breathe into that space. And let it show you how to be free of fear. If some tightness comes up, ask it what you need to know about it. And if there's nothing, just release it. If there's something, you can investigate further till it allows you to release it. And when you're ready, allow your attention to drift up to your heart center. Breathe into that space. Breathe into your heart center and allow it to expand. When you're ready, move your attention to the throat chakra in the center of your throat. Breathe into that space. This is the center that allows us to speak. And your attention may naturally rise to your third eye, behind and between your eyebrows. Breathe into that space. Feel for the stillness in between the breaths. Your attention will naturally rise to the top of your head. See the huge flower there in bloom, full bloom, the 1,000-petaled lotus. And as your head opens up, bring in all the white light and say, everything that's not mine, please leave. As we clear everything out of the space for a deeper connection with ourselves. Everything that no longer serves, please leave. And now from this space of thriving clarity, holding your attention there, gently open your eyes. We welcome your questions this morning. How may we serve? Hmm. So we'll give a brief astrological update because it's a difficult time, as we've probably all been aware of. So Rahu, the great disruptor, the planet of insatiable desire, and really sort of the opposite of Jupiter, the planet of wisdom. The two of them are coming closer and closer in the sky because Rahu travels backwards always, and Jupiter is at the moment traveling forwards. So they're coming together, and on the 25th and the 26th, they will be in the same degree in Aries, which is ruled by Mars. And I'm not sure exactly what day Sun moves to Taurus. That may have already happened. I didn't look yesterday. But we have Jupiter and Rahu coming into the same degree. And it means that the planet of wisdom is very close to the planet of distortion. So it means for all of us, essentially, that wisdom is distorted for the moment. And so we shouldn't pay attention to what or especially our own mind is telling us that we should do, especially if it feels urgent to do it now and it involves a big change. This is the wrong time to make a big change. And after the 25th, they will begin to separate because Rahu will continue on its way backwards and Jupiter will continue on its way forwards. But Jupiter spends a whole year in a sign, and we're in the first, I think it's happening at 8 degrees, but don't quote me on that. It's somewhere in that neighborhood. And so Jupiter's going to be in Aries for a while, and Rahu will not actually leave Aries until September 30th. So the intensity of the confusion will begin to get less, but it won't really be completely trustworthy until the end of September. So that's a long time from now. So unless you're sure, don't sign anything. That's what we'll say. I mean, some things have to be signed, and it's okay. We do the absolute best we can. But being forewarned is being forearmed in a way. So don't be pushed into something if you're not sure. And be a little bit skeptical about anything that appears to be urgent. And, common sense is really, really important. And it's one of the things that can get disturbed here. So that's the biggest thing that's happening in the sky. And it also depends on where Aries is in your own horoscope, what it means for you. I'll give you an example for Rebecca, who's Pisces. Aries is her second house, and that has to do a lot with finances and family, domestic harmony. So these things can be up. but for everybody, it's a different part of their life, depending on which Vedic rising sign they have. And if you have a Western chart, it's 23 degrees ahead of the Vedic chart. And the rising sign is different from the sun sign. The sun sign is where your sun is located. And in Western astrology, people identify as their sun signs, where their sun is located. So, how may we serve? Questions, anybody? Yes.
I have a question just about that. I'm sort of tentatively planning a trip to Ireland. I haven't traveled far except camping in my camper for several years. I have a lot of digestive issues that I can't eat. There are a lot of foods I can't eat, and that's one of the reasons, one of the main reasons, actually. But I also just got a hip replacement. But I'm planning this trip to Ireland, and I'm feeling kind of nervous about it in end of July, early August, because that's a big trip for me, and not that tech savvy, which you got to be nowadays to do anything. Um, so, and then with this that you just said, um, I'm, you know, I'm wondering if maybe I should change my plans. What do you think?
Well, we'll tell you a few things what we know about food in Europe. The first thing is that for the most part, there aren't any GMOs in Europe. And so the whole food thing changes. Many people can eat a lot more foods in Europe than they can in the US because it's just cleaner and they care more about food. Meals are events in Europe. And so good food is easier to find. It's more common. So on that count, you can be at ease. For some reason, we're having some ease about this for you. This is something you've thought about for a long time. You really want to do it. It has felt like the right time. And we don't know your chart, so we can't see what arena this is happening in for you. But we don't feel any great obstacle there.
That
You would have noticed because you've been planning for a while.
Yeah, I have actually, but I've been nervous for all this time as well.
And
So,
is there any place that it would make you less nervous to go?
um, well, that's just a really long flight, so it's not as long a flight, but not really, I guess.
Yeah. The sky is never perfect.
Yeah.
And none of us has a perfect horoscope. So there's always risk involved. And you're not going on the day of the conjunction.
Right.
And August is a lot closer to the end of it. These planets are going to be much further apart, so it'll be way less intense. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
That's very comforting, and I'll
Well, feel into it.
right.
It's important that you don't just take what we say, but really seriously feel into it for yourself. Because, you're asking the question for a reason, but we think the reason is because we told you what's happening, not because you really have a good reason that feels like you shouldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, it definitely feels like jumping off the high board for me right now. So into kind of a murky pool, or anyway, an unknown. So
Well, we're sure you've been working on your physical therapy and that your walking is at a place where you feel like you can handle a new adventure and it would be fun. That's the assumption we're going on.
yeah,
So,
that's right.
and it will extend you in a way that will give you more confidence about a lot of things. So we think this is all a good idea. But keep feeling and feeling and feeling. And if it doesn't feel like the right time, you can always postpone it.
Right. That's the thing that I always forget. Usually once I start to commit, like I bought the tickets already. It's like that's done. That's it. There's no going back. But it's good to remember that there can still be, if
Oh
there's a
yeah.
really strong reason to. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can investigate the rebooking possibilities and how difficult that is. If you really are having strong feelings that it's not a good idea, then you can check out your options. But to feel into yourself, it's very important that you, and I know you've been working on this your whole life, that you feel into the circumstances and make your decision from your own awareness.
Yes, of course. Yes. Well, that right there gives me, an added degree of confidence and self-direction. So thank you very
Mm,
much.
you are so welcome. Our goal is to make everybody independent and autonomous, because independent autonomous people cannot be controlled by anyone. And the whole of life depends on us getting that way, as many of us as quickly as possible, so that life can be in harmony with divine, our divine nature. And that will not be lockstep, but it will be a lot of fun. Because each one of us is unique. But can you imagine a world where everybody has the highest best for themselves and everybody else in their hearts? That is truly the only solution to everything. And it's so tricky because, so many people, so many authority figures make people believe that they need to follow rather than follow their inner. And so what looks good initially turns into something that isn't real in terms of connecting people to their highest and to their own integrity, to their own connection to source. And so each of us has to take any information in the context of our own connection and our own decision-making process of what we are responsible for and what we are not, and how we are going to express ourselves in a way that can be the highest best for us and everybody else in this moment. And sometimes, at least a part of every day, it's important that we make that connection to the deepest part of ourselves and check out whatever we're doing. And this is probably the most complex time that humanity has ever had, just because of the volume of information that comes across our eyes and ears and other senses every single day. So it's also important that we make regular time to have holidays from the sensory overload. And regular space in every day to have something different happen for us, where we actually go inside instead of just taking in input or giving out whatever we're giving out. How may we serve? Yes.
This is maybe too theoretical, but I've really, really been curious about AI and the effect, or as it pertains to our human spiritual evolution, consciousness evolution. I wonder if you have any thoughts on that.
Well, our observation is that humanity is changing rapidly. And it's extremely, as we said, either last week or the week before, we don't remember the time. But as the electronic world is getting more pervasive in our daily life, it's very, very important that we continue to connect to the natural world ourselves, and that we continue to cultivate our relationship with Mother Earth, Mother Nature, be in the air, be at the ocean, be in the water, be with the flowers, be with the sand, wherever we are, that we cultivate this relationship, which is relationship with that which is living in ourselves and around us. because in our where we choose to put our attention, whether it's in the natural world or on the electronics, will definitely determine our future. We can't say more than that because there are too many variables. But humanity has been changing very rapidly as, you know, the numbers of the G's have gone up that we are exposed to every day. G5 is now where we are. And you may have noticed there are some out there who believe that COVID is actually a human response to G5. We don't have an opinion about that. It's very unclear. But we do know that humanity is changing and that the children are being changed because electronics have become an easy entertainment. And so parents are allowing their children to be raised by the computer, by the values of whatever the child happens to run into on the computer. For example, if you have a computer question, who do you go to? You go to the 9-year-old boy who's been playing computer games his whole life and knows how to answer anything. So very often the children are more techno savvy than their parents. So that's there.
Wish I had a 9-year-old boy floating around.
Exactly. Yeah. 9 to 14. And then they kind of disappear. But really, one thing about AI is you can find anything you need to know. That.
Well, you know, again, being probably too plugged into the news and things, um, there is an AI singularity that very brainy people are really nervous about, and it's basically iRobot. You know, it's that AI has gotten exponentially, keeps getting exponentially smarter, and can replicate anything to a degree that is undetectable by humans. And you know, just that it's a dystopian thing, but apparently very brainy people think that's happening or it is bound to happen. Anyway, didn't really need to put that out there, but you know, that was part of
No,
my
I
question.
think everybody's aware of that. I don't think that's new information. And you know that idea's been in science fiction forever. The robots are coming.
Hal, Hal from 2001. Is that what the name of the movie was? Geez. Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have much to say about it. It's changing humanity. And, you know, if you were a robot and you had infinite information and no heart, you would probably deem humanity not that worthwhile. Because the one thing they really can't program in is the heart, the love. So we choose love every time. And we encourage everybody else to do same. And that's really what we're talking about when we're saying stay in touch with nature. We're talking about staying in touch with love. Because love is ultimately the only viable option. Anything else looks guaranteed to self-destruct, wouldn't you say? But the interesting thing is, the very interesting paradox is that energy actually travels over Zoom. Now, how interesting is that phenomena? So at every turn, there are paradoxes.
So then would that make the ability to be bilocating, is Zoom a type of way of doing that? If our energy can show up here where we presently are, and we can project it to you where you presently are. Just curious.
Well, it's our experience that that's happening all the time, regardless of whether we're
regardless of
able
the
to
platform.
see. Yes, regardless of the platform.
Yes.
But what happens, what's interesting is that we can be more aware of it because of the technology.
Right. We're more clued in because we're looking for it. We're
Yes.
expecting it.
And
Okay.
and our attention and our energy is going that way already.
Right.
So and there's potential for that in every communication. But
Absolutely.
it doesn't happen unless there's intention behind it.
Interesting.
It is really interesting.
Yeah.
And you see, it's just as powerful in the Inasa temple.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The Inasa temple is real.
Mm-hmm.
What happens there is real.
Oh, yes.
And it happens outside of the dimension of our everyday reality.
Thank you.
Thank you. But there are not simple answers here. So we're not saying disconnect completely. I mean, then we couldn't really live. We've all become dependent. and in very good ways. The smartphone is an incredible device. It's incredible. It was beyond our imagination when we were children. We got to Dick Tracy and the thing on the wrist, but it was limited in what it could do. And at the same time, we have all these events happening in the sky, making people, very uncomfortable in their own skins. So if we were going to give a one-word answer, we would say continue to cultivate love in everything you do, and have that as your goal, underlying every decision you make and every interaction you have with another person. How may we serve further? Hmm. So we're going to be really honest with you. And bring Rebecca back totally so she can tell you what's happening right now. So when I first started to channel, the first lesson that the guides gave me was they said, you have to know when not to channel. And when not to channel is when you are emotionally disturbed and can't be free of it. Well, that's happening in this moment. There's nothing urgent going on in my life. I had dinner last night with my youngest brother, who is remarkably naive about our childhood. And it kind of set off a lot of unresolved things in our relationship because I haven't been forthcoming with information that would allow him to really know me, because the risk is rejection because of the truth. So that's disturbing, and coming forward and not allowing me to channel. So there is a humanity to all this that is important to be shared, because we all have it. So we can access when we can, and we can't when we can't. And so I'm going to sign off with so much love. Till next time.